Hey there, Magic players. Barry White with MagicUntapped.com and Magic Untapped right here on YouTube. I am yet again coming to you from MagicCon Chicago, and with me is Chris and Annie from Wizards of the Coast, and we are talking about the Fallout Universes Beyond set that's coming out here pretty soon, right, folks?
In a week or two.
In a week or two. So when this comes out, I know previews are coming out. Since we've recorded this video, more cards would have been previewed. But for people who maybe aren't quite in the loop or haven't seen all the cards yet, just talk about some of the cool things that people can expect when they crack open the decks and open up the collector booster packs.
So we've got 4 decks, 4 pre-constructed decks. Each of them is sort of tackling a theme that exists in the Fallout games. So there's content from every different Fallout game in each of the 4 decks. One of them is the Scrappy Survivors deck. That deck is about putting together a bunch of ores and equipment on your main character. We've got the Science deck, which is all about artifacts and energy tokens, which are making their return here. We've got the Mutant Menace deck, which is about primarily focused on counters and graveyard synergies using the new mechanic, which is radiation counters. And then lastly, we have Caesar's Legion, which is a military-focused deck that's all about making tokens and sacrificing them in the glory of combat.
Okay, well, I can hype up what's in the collector boosters a little bit.
Let's talk about that, because I know you got a lot of cool, shiny things in there.
So we have like this Vault Boy treatment, which is a different frame and font, which is showcasing sort of like the HUD, like what you look through, like at the different enemies, where we have different reprints from the set, like new cards that you'd find within the decks, but we also have reprints that are not within the decks, that are just from the history of Magic, basically, that we felt like were really good flavor fits for these cards. We also have borderless Vault Boy cards for things like Soul Ring and Arcane Signet. And what else we got? Full Art Lands. Those are also both in the decks, though. So.
Yeah, the full art lands are some of my favorite ones. There's 2 different art styles. One of them is like a nice panorama that takes you through the journey of one survivor and like their quest throughout what you might imagine would be the main story of a Fallout game. But then the other one, which is very unique, is we have isometric art lands, which harkens back to the original Fallout 1 and 2 visual style.
Yeah, where you're like top down looking and clicking around.
Yeah, the old PC game.
Yeah, it's super awesome, and honestly, it makes me wish that we could get those games rendered in that high quality, because those backgrounds are just so beautiful.
Yes.
Okay, so Fallout Remastered comes out. I'm just kidding you. Now, as far as I know, there's no Fallout 1 and 2 Remastered, but that would be pretty cool if they did that.
Maybe those lands will inspire them.
Maybe they'll inspire. But no, getting back to the card set itself. Now, the final deck you talked about, the Caesar's Legion. Now, my favorite Fallout game, honestly, one of my favorite modern games, period, is Fallout New Vegas. Now, I grew up in Las Vegas, so maybe I'm a bit biased on that, just a little bit. Like, I've actually been to the Pioneer Saloon in Good Springs. However, can you just talk about, just pull out some key bits of flavor from each of the 4 games of like, this is something you're definitely going to see from out of New Vegas, something you're definitely going to, you're a fan of 4, look out for this. What are some things, maybe Chris, you take 2, and Annie, you take 2, that fans of each game is going to be like, oh, I'm so glad they put this in there.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll start with New Vegas, but we've really tried to bring to life many characters from all of the games. So, I'm just trying to think about ones we talked about earlier in our panel. We saw Yes Man and Craig Boone earlier that we've spoiled. Obviously, Caesar leads the Caesar's Legion deck, but we have Mr. House in there as well, who has kind of a fun die rolling, playing into that Las Vegas feeling.
Yeah, very gambly.
Yes, as he was able to take over the strip.
Right.
And of course, in games, you've just got tons of enemies and NPCs and whatnot. I guess the other one I'll talk about, because this was my specialty, was Fallout 76. So I went through and sort of picked out the characters that I thought people, fans of Fallout 76, would love seeing some of the more unique and interesting personalities from that game. Like you've got the Motherlode, who is a sentient boring machine that comes back and helps you in a quest where you're trying to break into a bank vault. Or you've got the Overseer of Fallout 76. We never learned her name, but she is sort of the guiding voice that guides players through 76, and you do get to meet her and do a side quest with her later. So lots of kind of just went through that game and found all of the different characters that would be fun to see.
Yeah, you mentioned you like New Vegas most because like you've been there, like you've seen the actual sites, right? So like we have so many lands in these commander decks because they are functional, playable commander decks. So all over the lands, you're going to be able to see like little Easter eggs to different locales that you may recognize from the games. Like personally, Fallout 3 is my favorite because I'm from the DC region. So I think one that I kind of recall is like Blasphemous Act. There's like this picture of like this angelic statue thingy, which like you can like literally go find in the game. And I don't know, just little Easter eggs like that. Nothing else comes to mind right now because there's just a whole bunch of them. So yeah. Oh, the command tower is the
Lucky 38.
Yeah, the Lucky 38. Yeah.
Which is House's Casino.
Yeah.
From Fallout New Vegas. A lot of New Vegas in this video, if you can't tell.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, and then Fallout 4 is, I think, the other one. So Fallout 1 and 2 are present, but they're definitely a smaller slice of the overall pie. With Fallout 4, basically like every faction from that game has been represented. It's like we have like Sean from the Institute, Elder Maxon from the Brotherhood. We have Desdemona from the Railroad, and just tons of companions from that game as well.
Well, working on Magic, like we are very faction forward. We love factions because it's just so easy to like bucket them across the color pie and like mechanically. So it was really great to be able to leverage those from Fallout 4.
That definitely is a faction of life with Magic the Gathering. Boom. But taking something like Fallout, which has its own mythos, its own universe, it's a post-apocalyptic fantasy, Western, depending on what game you're playing, sci-fi thing. How do you make that magic? How do you turn that into Magic the Gathering?
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it all starts with like trope at the core of it, right? Like everything's like based on trope. Like you just mentioned like a Western trope, right? Like what kind of iconography do you expect to see? And so you just start with, I don't know, it's sort of like a core feeling that you get when playing Magic is this sense of like role playing or like identifying with something. And you have the same core feeling when playing Fallout, right? You craft your character. In Magic the Gathering, you craft your deck, right? And it's meant to express something, like some part of the color pie, like, oh, I like being aggressive. And it's like, well, who likes being aggressive in Fallout? It's like, well, the Raiders, they're all out there trying to shoot you. So it's just about trying to find like that same like core starting point that like both of these games really have, and then making cards that bring them together. So
I mean, I think Annie pretty much from the get-go, like day one or something, came in and said, here's what I think the 4 deck themes are, and here's what I think their colors are. And we basically did not change at all from that day one. It's like day one, she nailed exactly what we were going for, and then as we explored out the games and found all of the characters and monsters and moments that we wanted to put in, they always sort of fit naturally into one of these 4 categories.
Yeah.
So I feel like right from the get-go, we had such a strong foundation to build off of, of what was fun to explore about the universe.
It's no mistake that like a lot of the decks have like both red and white in them, because it just feels like a lot of Fallout is like it's aggressive, but it's also like has like this military angle to like a lot of the factions. And we've had several decks with those 2 colors in them because like certain characters felt like they just fit thematically in different places. So even though there are a lot of red white guys, I don't know, they all have something a little different to them. So.
Now, the pre-cons, Chris, if you had to pick one of the 4 decks as like, this is the deck I'm opening first, this is my favorite of the 4 Fallout decks, which one are you going to open first and play with?
I would probably do the Artifacts and Energy deck. That's the Science!
Science!
That's probably, I mean, I'm very biased because I think that was the one that I probably spent the most time working on internally. But also I think it's just got a lot of really fun characters that I love and remember. Got a lot of cool robots in it. And then also I think that Energy is a really fun mechanic that we haven't really gotten to explore ever since we initially introduced it. And Fallout, it just was such a natural fit for the universe that we were really excited to be able to bring it back.
Certainly. And Annie?
I'm going to go with the Scrappy Survivors deck. I just think the play style of making one really big guy and then you swing and then your opponent's like, are you seriously attacking me for like 100 damage? And I'm like, yeah. And then like everyone is like, seriously though? And I'm like, yeah, seriously though. So
sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Because it is kind of savage to just like take someone out in a game of Commander, but someone's got to win at the end of the day. So.
So one final question for each of you. The set is released. People are looking at the cards, they're cracking collector boosters, they're playing with the precons, they're modifying the precons. Once that's happened, what is the one thing you hope Magic players, if anything else, that Magic players get out of the Fallout set?
I think the main thing that I want people to take away from playing this is that seeing what Universes Beyond can sort of bring to the game. I think that, Fallout was one of my, I truly just, wasn't even in my brain as something that we would do, but once someone said, oh, we're doing Fallout, I was like, that's awesome. I love Fallout. I'm so passionate about it. And I was so excited to work on it, to be able to contribute. And I think that what players will see with both this product and future Universes Beyonds is that when we get to work and we are working on these things, we are putting in the time, the passion, the energy, the knowledge of real fans, just like we do with every other Magic set. And I've had a lot of people that I've talked to this weekend that have said, hey, I don't really know anything about Fallout, but I still really like these designs. And I think that goes to show that when we are really doing our jobs well and we are using these other stories and universes that people know to inspire us, it can create awesome cards for both fans and non-fans of that universe. So I think that people will get to see sort of what can come out of Universes Beyond as we get better and better and better at bringing these other worlds to life in our game.
Okay.
That's a great answer. Yeah, I don't have much to add other than I hope people can see that when we design a card, y'all might think ooh, what a deep cut, right? But honestly, we're Fallout fans just like you guys, and there's no one who's just normal about enjoying Fallout. They're all wicked into it. So I hope you can see that in the product.
Okay, well, Fallout set, Universes Beyond, Magic the Gathering set coming out here very, very soon. Look for it at your local gaming store, online, wherever you get your Magic the Gathering cards. You can probably find it there. Chris and Andy, thank you very much for joining us here on Magic Untapped, and thank you for watching. See you next time.